Hello, welcome everyone. To those here on the live stream, no need to fast forward because we're going to be starting the session right now. Welcome, welcome. Good to see some familiar faces and some new faces. Let's see, we've got representation here from Germany. Awesome. I'm tuning in here from Dallas, United States. Would love to hear where in the world your feet are planted right now. And as you do that, I'm just going to get this recording started, okay? Israel, Yorkshire, UK, Los Angeles. Yeah, Finland, awesome. So we've got people from every hemisphere. Liverpool, UK, yep. Glasgow, Scotland. Glasgow, yeah? Is that the correct way to pronounce it? Welcome. Oh yeah, thanks, Colin. Argentina, Mexico, Mexico. Awesome. We've got people from all over today. I'm loving it. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to day 5 of our talk series on trauma's everyday impact. My name is Shanti and I'm here to serve up some tech and hospitality. So if you have any support needs with using Zoom, don't hesitate to reach out to me via private message. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. First things first, a special thanks to those who have the All Access Pass and are here live for contributing to our sustainability at Embodiment Unlimited so that we can continue to put out great resources like this for you and giving us the joy of having humans to interact with. The thing that keeps me coming in and day out is definitely all of you and the community here. So definitely, yeah, feel free to stay engaged and put your comments into the chat and discuss the things that we're watching. I love to see that. Please turn your cameras on if possible, no matter what you're doing, as it provides useful feedback for presenters. Second, if you're watching a replay, you can purchase an all-access pass to get into the live Zoom room and see unlimited sessions, like the folks that I've got here with me today. It's an awesome crew. You won't regret it. And for those who have the all access pass, we also have a Q&A at 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. UK every day. For those in the Western Hemisphere, that's 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is done by Roger Mills, a therapist who specializes in PTSD, and Patricia Aguirre, our Embodiment Unlimited therapist. Who here in the crowd has been to one of these Q&As? Raise your hand if you have. Yeah. How was it? I haven't had a chance to go, so I would love to hear about it. Definitely put some comments into the chat if there's anything interesting you've learned from the Q&A. And please share information on this week's summit with anyone who wants to uncover the subtle ways in which trauma shows up in their lives. Anyone that you care about, any loved ones. There's only a day left, so you don't have a whole lot of time. So if you don't want them to miss out, definitely do so. Replays, as you know, are being sent out after the live sessions are finished. So I'll put that link again for you into the chat. So this one is the registration link for this talk series that you're in now. And then for those who have been attending a lot of these sessions and you've experienced the benefits from this week's summit, a lot of them have just really been like a teaser or a taster, that's just half an hour into the topics. But if you'd like to go deeper into this stuff, we offer courses that may fit your needs, whether you're an ordinary person like me who just wants to make some changes in their lives and apply some of these learnings to your daily routine, or you're a coach, facilitator, therapist, and you're hoping to integrate some of this work into the work that you do with your clients. So there's packages for both options and tutor-led group sessions so that you can really solidify the learning with others, and you can have in community. That's the way I learn best, and I know that's the way many other people learn best as well. And then Embodiment Unlimited has intentionally made these resources cheaper than their market value because we want to make this affordable and accessible for as wide an audience as feasible. I will give you a little tour of the site when we wrap the session, but if you're really curious, now feel free to check out the link I put into the chat below, and you can start scrolling through. And lastly, and most importantly, I know those of you who have been coming all week have heard this over and over again, but we really hammer it in because it's just so important. This is a really great time to do a self check-in for safety. So good question to ask yourself right now is, are you resourced? If you aren't feeling well enough to drive a car or something else that requires a lot of coordination, then it might be an indicator that this maybe is not appropriate time to watch, and a wiser choice might be to instead go do an act of self-care, whatever it is that feels good to you right now, that would be kind to yourself. For me, right before I had this session, I just had a couple bites of apple strudel, and that was definitely resourcing for me. It was warm and lovely, and yeah. So whatever it is for you. And another question to ask yourself is, are you better served by one-to-one therapy? So this talk series is a platform for education. It's not therapy, and it's not designed for people who are currently in the worst of their trauma. Many of our teachers, as well as myself, have been there, so no judgment at all. But you do need to be robust for these sessions. So exercise some prudence on whether this is the right time in your journey for engaging with an in-depth discussion about trauma without the guidance of a clinical professional. It's okay to need guidance. I needed it at times as well. And no matter who you are and where you're at with trauma, definitely don't binge. It's not necessary. There's no need for that. The replays have been sent out. And for those of you here in the live Zoom room who have the All Access Pass, we do have a link for that. Just please use judiciously, use the honor code here. It's only for those who have actually purchased the pass. If you do tense up, if you get agitated at all, if you space out, breathe and make a shift. So you can always watch later. We recommend movement, good company with people you trust, and nature, both during and after this session to help resource yourself. Having said all that, I know there's a lot of malarkey coming out of my mouth. I'd like to introduce this session. Our presenter is the trauma educator, Ilan Stefani, who will be speaking about trauma and the inner critic. She'll be looking at how to talk to yourself like a friend. That's something I definitely struggle with. My inner critic is very, very loud and very, very clever. So I can't wait to hear more from her. Ilan is a best-selling author and researcher in the fields of sexuality, spirituality, collective trauma healing, and embodiment. Having been a sex worker in the past, Ilan has firsthand experience in coming back from difficult places and in turning tough stuff into fuel for truly living. Now, because this is a watch party and I don't want to obstruct our view of the share screen with my cursor moving around, I'm logged onto a second device, which you can see as Shanti2 in the Participants tab. And I'll be using that to track the streaming quality and to monitor the chat. So please feel free to give me your feedback on your viewing experience, and I'll be happy to adjust the audio and video as necessary. Okay? All right, enough of me. It's watch party time. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And do please feel free to interact with me in the chat and put in your comments, because I'll be watching with you too. Bust out the popcorn too, maybe, huh? Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for being here with me. I think us gathering around the topic of trauma is one of the most, it's one of the topics that's global anyway, so why not gather in huge groups? So thank you for showing up here. I'm looking forward to sharing my thoughts or my prompts on how to talk to yourself like a friend. Because honestly, it's such an honor and such a surprise for me that I, Ilan, would ever talk about how to talk to yourself like a friend. It touches me at this very moment because I have been so much not my friend. I have been so much not on my side 24/7 when I was growing up. So like me being asked then, can I contribute something to all of our challenges around, can I talk to myself like a friend? Is something that is in itself like a testimonial for something around the nervous system seems to work, which is something around trauma healing seems to be a real thing. And I think that is why we are here, because trauma healing is a real thing. And we are living in a culture that puts it to the side or puts it into a niche or into something that you do in private with a few bad events in your life if you haven't been lucky. And I think the field that we are creating here is this new paradigm of, if you open your eyes to the suffering around, if you open your senses to what your nervous system has stored inside, if you get a glimpse of what you are capable of and what you are actually, or who you are actually, then it's like trauma healing is the thing. It's the essence of why we can have hope for ourselves and for the world around. So let's dive in. How to talk to yourself like a friend. It is as simple as that. Talk to yourself like a friend. And nothing more complicated. Because, when I am there and I'm full of makeup that somebody made and my hair is made and somebody is applauding and standing ovations for whatever, because I don't know, I ran a marathon, I gave birth to a child, whatever. It's kind of easy to be celebrated in extraordinary moments that are so shiny and so much about the peak of success, the biggest talent that you have. And then when everybody is applauding, okay, maybe you are still stuck like me in, I can't believe it, I can't let it in, why I can't receive a compliment, but maybe not. And maybe then you are like, okay, life is good. Okay. And you feel a moment of freshness and a moment of exhale of something in you is wrong or could be even wrong. But this is not when we have to train and when we have to master how to talk to ourselves like a friend. I could say this is level 1, and that's pretty easy. It's hard, but it's too easy. The real stuff is when you fuck it up. The real stuff is when you fail. The real stuff is when you disappoint yourself. And the first thing that goes away when you fail is your awareness for the very moment. What happened and all those aspects that didn't happen. Nobody said you are unworthy of living. Nobody said you are unworthy of connection or support. Nobody said you are bad. Nothing bad happened. It's just that you failed. It's just that you didn't make it up to the expectations that you had on yourself or that others had. Disappoint your best friend. Disappoint your mother. So what? Oh, so what? The world explodes. So there is something where we are overly triggered, overly activated by something so small like not meeting our own expectations. This is what we have to train in the session and in the rest of our life. And this is what we will learn, how to talk to ourselves like a friend in those moments. And I assure you, because I'm such an expert around self-hatred, I mean, I really know the stark matter of self-hatred. So that is why if I manage at least small progress over time in terms of talking to myself like a friend, it's like, sorry to say, but then everybody can. So let's do that. And I reassure you that when you manage to talk to yourself like a friend for a split of a second, in the darkest triggers or deepest attacks of self-critics, it is so powerful that it radiates automatically onto all those shiny moments, or all those moments who are a little bit easier in your everyday routine. It's a superpower that you kind of unleash when you are going to your darkest places. And when you are there in a split of a second, just offering to yourself your own hand as a friend, to split of a second, not leaving you totally alone in your inner hell of self-criticism. That's a bomb. That's a bomb of self-love. It's so much more powerful than everything that you can do when you are standing there on stage, everybody is cheering you on, and you are like, yeah, okay, I'm okay. You can stand it there in the self-love for an hour. It's not nearly, not even close to the superpower that you unleash in yourself, that you remind yourself to when you're doing that in the darkest hell. And honestly, how to talk to myself like a friend, how to deal with my inner criticism. In my case, the initial moment came from a friend. The initial moment was a friend of mine went into inner child work, which is something that I've never been busy with. And she learned something amazing in that. And she didn't learn it in order to support me. She learned it in order to get along with her own childhood trauma in a slightly better way. And it worked for her. And she said, sweetie, it's all okay. Everything is welcome here. Just everything is welcome here. She said it to me in such a sweet voice, and she called me sweetie. And she was so sweet. She was so like, Ilan, don't make it even harder. Just don't. It's okay. Everything is welcome. And to some extent, I could even say my soul grasped this sentence. And it was staying in me like the most useful mantra that I ever heard. That when I fucked it up again, when I failed again, when I looped around in my suffering, when I was stuck in my drama, when I didn't make it to the courage of expressing my truth or even knowing my truth inside or whatever, it was like, sweetie, just fuck it up. Just be a coward. Just don't make it even harder. Just fail, Ilan, just fail. And then after a while, it was me holding the little Ilan in my arms. It was like, oh, sweetie, wow, coming from tough times. Wow, let me be there. Let me be there. After countless times, I haven't been there for you. I haven't been there for me. I haven't been there for the present moment. It was the most useful mantra of my life. It is the most useful mantra of my life. It is, with my full embodiment, fucking it up when I fuck it up. It's as simple as that. It's like you're crushing downwards, less energy, no hope, no answer. Like you made so much progress before, and now, who knows, but you did something wrong, whatever. And then, with your full embodiment, with your full presence, agree to this being a dark moment. Laying there with a water bottle, laying there with a loop of crying, laying there with a repetition, laying there with something failing, and staying with the situation and a tender, soft hug for yourself. Everything is okay. Everything is welcome here. What it did over time is it stopped me procrastinating my life to tomorrow, because I started realizing in my nervous system, tomorrow will never be today. That's the definition of tomorrow. It's not today. It's never here. It's never now. So it almost takes away the illusion. Not almost. It takes away, it washes out of your nervous system the illusion that more hardship towards yourself, more criticism with yourself, more strictness with yourself would get you anywhere. If more harshness, strictness, criticism, attack against yourself would get you anywhere, trauma would have been the booster for your potential. The wounding, the initial wounding would have made it because it was an attack. It was super harsh. It was super much against you. It was deleting what you wanted to offer to the table. Replacing this original that you are originally with a copy of being afraid of being too much for anybody. The good girl, the good boy. So why do we treat ourselves with a slight sense of re-traumatization, self-re-traumatization every time that we are triggered? Instead of then opening our arms, then holding ourselves. It is a matter of training. You might not know me. I think it's most likely that you do not know me. I hope that you have good friends. If it's my voice today that is allowed to say that to you, everything is welcome here. Everything of you is welcome here. If there is anybody, any voice, any tone on earth that can get that across to you as this, I could say, sacred bridge between the nervous systems who remind themselves of being worthy of living and support no matter what, allow me to be one of those living beings, just for this moment in your life. Everything of you is welcome here. Don't show me your pretty face. Don't show me your talent. Let's reveal our woundings. Let's pass this sentence on to the biggest secrets. What is definitely not meant to be welcome on earth? What would it be that I would reject or anybody else would deeply reject and judge and push to the side when he or she would know this about you? Can you for a moment close your eyes, rub your hands? Close your eyes, rub your hands. Put your warm hands onto your chest, just between your breasts, pressing the palms of your hands onto your heart. When there is anything that feels like that's not welcome, that is definitely not okay. Might be something illegal, something considered to be super bad, super weird, just super embarrassing, just totally insane, totally mean and unnecessary, that brought suffering to other people. Whatever it is, breathing into that, into your heart for this very moment. Inhaling, exhaling, listening to your breath. Expanding your inhale a little bit more. The duration of your inhale becomes longer, filling your chest, filling your heart. Pressing your hands onto your heart. Now lifting your upper hand. One hand is still on your heart. The other hand, lift it from your heart and put it onto your forehead. Your forehead is a kind of center for your thinking brain, your judging brain if it comes to judging yourself. Holding both brains at the same time. Opening the space of everything is welcome here. to almost nothing but those ones that can't be meant, those parts of you that can't be welcomed by anybody, and certainly not by you yourself. Inhaling, exhaling, softening your eyes, allowing your eyes to melten, to melt, to soften, to unlearn the criticism, unlearn the fixed position. This is wrong, so, and that is why. Inhaling into your heart 3 more times. Allowing your head brain to learn from your heart brain, to listen to your heart brain, to just be in a simple, natural connection with your heart brain. 1 more time, inhaling, exhaling. With your head, brain, hand back to your heart. Ooh, opening your eyes, moving your eyes a little bit in space. Wow! Making a few faces. Wow! Stretching your tongue, moving your neck, opening your arms. Oh! Stretching your body. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wow! At the end of the day, it's so much about embodiment. If we are embodied, if we are with our nervous system, it's just we have a natural and instinctive check-in with, does it get me anywhere to go into this direction? And self-blame, obviously, for your nervous system doesn't get you anywhere besides into those places that you are suffering from and that you want to break free from. So the moment we are not following the conditioning of the head, but you have another check-in system available to you, open for you in your senses, in your nervous system, it's like, does it put anything good into the situation that I now blame or hate myself? Let's quickly check in. No, certainly not. I definitely tried it a few billion times. It never worked in any way. I think I can go into another direction. There is something very fluid, very willing in your nervous system to be rewired and to remind you to remind you on those directions that truly make sense. And then the beautiful thing is, when we fuck it up, it's just another wave in an any way alive life. In an any way alive, maybe chaotic and messy form of daily existence for all of us. So then when we are not leaving ourselves in the moment of, I failed, oh my God, this is so embarrassing, oh my God. When we do not leave ourselves, when we do not leave our breath, when we do not leave our heart brain, when we do not leave this inner kind of, oh, sweetie, wow. Yes, this hurts. Oh my God. Yes, we have no idea. Me neither. You're talking to yourself like to your inner child. Then it will, time itself, you and your aliveness keep going on. And this will carry you out of this, how do you say that? Of this, I could say, phase of depression. Then it's not a stagnant thing that never changes. Then it's not a block. Then it's not a chronic thing, but just, wow, few visit moments in hell. That's all. And again, this friend that gave my most powerful, useful mantra to me, she didn't learn it for me. She learned it because she took herself serious in her wounding. And this is again why I think all of us should be so proud on being in touch with your own wounding. You have no idea how much you add to the people in your life by being in touch with your own woundings instead of having to overcome them because after that you are the perfect girlfriend or whatever. Forget about that. Tomorrow will never be today. But today you are a walking contribution and you can't hinder that from being in that way just by being in touch with your own wounding, just by training to not leave yourself when you are wounded or triggered again. You have no idea how many people around you are starving for this medicine. They are just waiting for this one nervous system that you might be in their life that stays in itself instead of them then beating oneself up on the next level. So this is the paradigm shift in terms of courage. That's the quantum leap of healing. Staying that courageous no matter what. That it's like, okay, now that I'm that miserable, I won't beat myself up. I just won't. I just won't. I will not add another layer of war to this planet, period. And it starts with me. So there is something of us being intimate with hell, and I call it that way deliberately because there is no other word that can at least come close to how much people can suffering, and people are suffering nowadays, and I know suffering myself. So this intimacy with hell is something so it's a healing bomb, and you can't hinder that from being spread around. And we are not alone with that. Yay! So thank you so much for being into. Oh my God, my microphone cable was a little bit messy with my inspiration. Thank you so much for being into this because it's such a privilege for us being wired for learning in a community instead of alone and in an isolated living room. It's such an honor to not having to figure that out alone. Thank you for being into stuff like that. See you at the whole hidden trauma event and in every online course of the world, etc., etc. And I think the most trustworthy and safest place on earth for all of us to find is this amazing nervous system that we are. Yeah. Sweetie, it's okay. Sweetie, it's going to be okay. Exactly like that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful chat. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. How was that? That was quite an emotional journey, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah. I feel really touched by Ilan's sharing there, and yeah, really impacted by that piece of like how our wounding could being in touch with our wounding could actually be um have a positive make a positive contribution to the world in some way by touching others. So that was like really um really impactful. And for those of you who keep a journal, and even if you don't, I highly recommend, if there's anything that you've sort of taken away from Ilan's talk, this would be a really great time to write down a couple of those things so that like a week from now or 2 weeks from now, after this talk series is over, you can sort of look back at it and the start of your day and say like, oh yeah, this is something that I can remember for myself, whether it's that mantra or something else. Um, Yeah, I'm here seeing some comments. It was really beautiful, real loving, honest. Yeah, I thought so too. I was really touched by it. Um, and yeah, I'm just like really loving how we were able to, with these talks, I'm starting to learn a little bit more about how to kind of turn the bad things that have happened to me and sort of transform them into something that can be powerful and useful, and that's really hopeful. It brings a lot of hope to the experience of having trauma, I think. Who else sort of has felt that way from attending these talks? Yeah, it's really inspiring. Well, to close out this session, I'd like to be really gentle about this because I think I'm sure as it is for me, I'm sure a lot has been moving through you from Ilan's words, and so I just want to ask you to really do something nice for yourself, something really kind to yourself in the next hour or so before the next session. But I am going to throw the links for you into the chat again and just give you like a really quick rundown of what they are, and as well as show you a quick video about them. So just a quick rundown on the links. The first one is just the link to register for this talk series. So there's really only there's just today and tomorrow left, but if there's anyone in your life who you think could benefit, do pass it on. The next link, which I'll kind of give you a little tour of just in just a second, is for the courses that you can take to dive deeper into this stuff after the talk series is over. The third link is for all the replays. So for those of you who have the All Access Pass, you can watch these later and rewatch them if you'd like, to really consolidate your learning. And then the last is our email. So Agatha is waiting for you. And so if there's anything that you need more information on or you need any assistance with, you can always reach out to us at support@embodimentunlimited.com. So with that, I'll just do a real quick screen share of these websites and walk you through it, and then we'll close up so that you can go do pick an act of self-care for yourself to do right after this. Because yeah, this was a heavy session. A lot has moved through you, and your body could use something gentle. So here we go. So this is the hidden trauma link that I had. That's first for those who, there's still a couple more days of this talk series. So if there's someone that you want to send it to, please do. And then this is the schedule that we have up. So the next session after this, I'll be hosting again. It's going to be by the fantastic, unique, and just absolutely irreplaceable Paul Linden. For those of you who have not met him, he's a martial artist. He practices Aikido, and he's just got a wicked sense of humor. And he's going to be talking about trauma for martial artists, and how to actually feel safe, how to get there. And so that will be at 100 UK time. For those in the Western Hemisphere, for me, that's going to be Central Standard Time at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard to be 8 o'clock. And after that, we're going to have a watch party for another talk with Mark and Daniela, looking at trauma on the front lines for healthcare professionals, emergency responders, and humanitarians. And you can see there's a full schedule for tomorrow as well. So do come to that, and I will definitely be there. But I really recommend, again, not to binge watch, but pick out of the sessions for today and tomorrow, pick the ones that you think are going to have most value or be most useful for you, and maybe watch those, and you can watch the rest on replay later. And then just really quick, I just want to show you a little trailer for the Trauma is Our Superpower course. You will see a lot of familiar faces in there from this talk series because it's all the same teachers. So here we go. Let's go ahead and
What works
for
when
you.
it comes to healing trauma?
What really works for me when it comes to dealing with my own stuff?
I thought there'd be an obvious answer. I thought it would be like, okay, if you have this infection, you take antibiotics.
But it's about the energy that is still present from our past, in our nervous system, in our bodies right now.
If trauma is bio, psycho, social, relational, spiritual, societal, your healing will probably involve those things. The main thing is actually practice rather than theory. You can't sort of theory your way out of it.
Because trauma is not something that goes away.
Everybody has to deal with their trauma in their own unique way.
An online course like this, it's not at all about repairing you. Quite the opposite. Can you deal with your past that it enriches your life today?
What is this idea of superpowers? We can think of trauma patterns as strategies for establishing safety.
Trauma is an event that changes you fundamentally.
Patterns are created to cope with this.
But it doesn't have to be negative all the time.
The superpower is where you keep the adaptation, but you lose the problems associated with it.
After all of this journey, all of these chapters, trauma is a superpower. This course is about
Tools to create a richer life for yourself.
Going beyond surviving trauma and actually thriving.
in order to get closer to what I really want in life. Can I meet my past in this powerful presence?
People do not have to suffer as much as they are. You do not have to.
I invite you to go into this journey. Let me be your fellow traveler with all of us together.
I think this will help.
Okay, so I'll stop right there, and with that we'll close. Just ask that you remember what Ilan has said about like talking to yourself like a friend, and see if maybe you can find a small way to put that into practice for the rest of your day, and maybe over the next week. What might be a way where you can maybe speak to yourself with a little more kindness and a little more compassion, the way you would to a friend. Okay. All right. Thank you. It's wonderful being with all of you, and I'll see you all soon.